I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Soup's a podcast. I'm Francis. He's Giulio. Hey, G, how are you?
What up, dude? How you doing?
Just fighting with my dad.
Nice.
Yeah, but not in like a daddy issues way. Not in like a I need therapy kind of way.
That's good, at least.
We talked about this.
Dude.
Do you?
A little bit, yeah. Haven't seen them in a while, and at this point I could go visit, but then I'm like, I start second guessing, and then I'm going to try to figure out a visit soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We talked a lot last episode about when a girlfriend or a boyfriend doesn't get along with or doesn't like their significant other's parents.
Right.
Does your girlfriend like your parents?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if we are far enough along for her to admit if she did not. However,
wow.
I know, objectively speaking, and to be honest, the other way around. Like, if I didn't like her parents, I wouldn't tell her. I do like her parents very much, but I try to kind of like work around it, buy some time to figure it out. However, objectively speaking, my parents are pretty cool. So I think that she probably has no issues with them.
I guess at a certain point in a relationship, you can't really hide it anymore, right?
Right. Eventually it can become, especially when you have kids and stuff, like I remember my parents kind of like making whatever comments they were going to make about their father and mother-in-law. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever those were, but it made it clear the stance that they had taken.
Right.
It's like they're family now.
Do you ever try to get your parents' feelings on your girlfriend?
Kind of. Sometimes if I notice, even if they're making some kind of like innocent misconception, I try to guide them on the proper path.
Uh-huh. Okay. You want to you're launching a propaganda campaign in her favor with your parents.
Of course, and she deserves it. You know, she's very nice, and I think that she is deserving of their best opinion, which I think that she has gotten. Have
you ever introduced a girlfriend to your parents where your parents didn't really have that they didn't like her that much, but then you tried to influence them the other way, even though you knew it might not be, you were kind of just fooling yourself?
So here's the thing. They never have told me that they don't like a girlfriend while I'm dating them. But afterward, they have confessed that there were specific ones that they didn't like that much.
Yeah,
for petty reasons.
Okay, sorry, like what? Like what kind of reasons?
Like one time, one of them said something rude about an item that my mother had and used regularly. And they were acting like whoever had that item would be like a piece of garbage.
Like they were like, wow, the holes in that colander are so big. I don't know how you eat angel hair pasta and strain it with that thing. Only a loser. Would you buy that at Sky Mall? Was that how that conversation unfolded?
I think it was more specific about like maybe a bag or an accessory. I forget specifically, but I remember my mom later saying that it like hurt her feelings, which like made me feel really bad.
That is tough.
Yeah. What about you with all this stuff? You threw a lot of questions at me.
Well, it's such an interesting that the parent, girlfriend, boyfriend relationship is so tricky, and you hope you get it right. And I think that there is only so much, you can only bring your parents so far in terms of getting them on the side, right? So like if they're set in disliking somebody, you can only get it so far as being civil, right? If you're totally set on being with this person.
Right.
You can't get your parents to, I don't think you can get your parents, if they hate the person you're dating, to love the person that you're dating.
And especially not in a short amount of time. That's the thing that'll take years.
Right. But I also think that, to your point, which was that, your parents have never told you that they disliked the person that you were dating while you were dating that person. Only after did they say, yeah, we didn't love that person.
Right.
I think if you're a parent, you have to be some kind of an asshole to tell your son or daughter, hey, we really disapprove of this relationship.
I so agree with that.
And it's one thing, like, okay, yeah, if your son or your daughter tells you, Mom, Dad, I intend to marry this person and spend the rest of my life with them. And if you're the parent and you've seen some really bad signs and you think you need to speak now or forever hold your peace, I get that. I get
That's
that
different,
you should.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you're being, if you've brought your boyfriend or girlfriend home to meet your parents for the first time or the second time, and your parents pull you aside and they're like, we don't like this person, those parents are assholes.
Agreed. And I think that extends even into the like religious thing. Like, I think you're an asshole if you don't approve of the person that your kid loves, if they're a lovely person, but they just come from like a different background. I think that is like archaic and disgusting, personally.
I agree. And we could include race in that.
Absolutely.
If parents disapprove. But I see this stuff happening in TV shows and movies. I haven't seen it happen too often in real life.
With what? Like, I've seen it with religious stuff, with religion.
I don't really know many people whose parents disapproved of a relationship where they continued to date or you know what I mean? I just haven't seen that. I haven't seen a parent tell like nightmare Meryl Streep mother where she's telling the person, the son or the daughter, like, we hate your boyfriend, we hate your girlfriend.
Right. What movie is this referring to?
I don't know. I feel like Meryl Streep always plays the honest mother who maybe
tells
not.
it like it is. No, I feel you.
Yeah.
But dude, I know 2 or 3 different people who haven't even told their parents that they are dating the person that they are dating because they would not approve because she's not of the same ethnic background, religious background, whatever.
Well,
And somebody that you know, bro.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
we'll talk about it off air, but yeah, somebody that you know.
Leaving a little tasty nugget for our listeners to wonder about.
I know. Well, they don't know who this guy is.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this. Which religions do you think are the most likely to have such strong walls and be most likely to disapprove of someone dating outside the religion? Is this a really controversial question that I'm asking you?
Maybe, but I have a non-controversial answer. I think all of them potentially, just depending on how deep or whatever kind of version of it you believe in. I think there are versions of all the major religions that are intolerant to outsiders.
I think that's true. For my experience, I think Judaism, there's such a strong cultural element of that. And I have a lot of Jewish friends. I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. And their parents would always kind of jokingly say, like, we can't wait for you to settle down with a nice Jewish girl or something like that. Right. But I don't think that if my friends had ended up with a non-Jewish person, the parents would have been furious or like disinherited them or anything like that.
So
go ahead.
Sorry. Keep going.
No, that was kind of the end of that thought.
Okay. So I feel like I have Jewish friends who fall into this category of parents who would like to see their kid be with a Jewish person. But I have a million Jewish friends whose parents are not like that.
Right.
The thing that I find interesting is that if you just looked at those two people standing next to each other on the street, you might not know which one.
Totally.
And that I think is the interesting element of that, because
Yeah.
I don't know any like majorly religious people from other religions besides Judaism. I know some super religious Jewish people who are like completely normal otherwise.
Mhm.
And not that they're abnormal because of that, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like
right.
we hang out and go for drinks and like I interact with them all the time and they happen to come from a really religious family.
Mm,
I can't
got
think
it.
of another situation like that besides maybe like Rami, but I don't even know if Rami's parents are super religious. I know he's like pretty religious. I don't really know. But like, yeah, to your point.
Isn't it sad too that both of us are nervous talking about this? Because
It's a difficult thing to talk about because you run the risk of saying something that comes off sounding the wrong way and it's not worth it.
I think the level of sensitivity is so high, and perhaps rightfully so. And everybody is very, very protective of their religion and their religious beliefs. I took a class in college. It was called Community in America, and it was taught by a professor named Robert Putnam. He was a massive social scientist, published many books. His seminal work was a book called Bowling Alone, The Decline of Social Capital in America. And social capital, according to this guy, is the benefits and the goodness that come from people hanging out. Okay?
Oh, dude, totally.
Interacting. Like,
Totally.
you know, for so many years, America was built on or interacted on bowling leagues, church groups,
Softball.
Elks Club, softball, veterans
VFW.
associations,
Yep.
all of these things, which now have kind of really declined. People are more and more just hanging out with their families. The internet has contributed to people interacting, you know, virtually and sort of just sticking with their own. But it used to be that you would hang out with your golf group or your bridge club or whatever it was, and that was very, very good for the country. You know, I think that in suburbia, there's the neighborhoods are becoming more isolated. People are not going over to their neighbors' houses to ask for eggs or,
Right.
you know, asking if you could just babysit our kids. Could you look after our kids while we go to this? Whatever, all these things. And Putnam said, and this is becoming very academic, but I think it's very interesting. He said that one of the most valuable bonds that is formed are cross-cutting bonds. I think that's what he
Totally.
called them, or cross-cleavage bonds.
Totally.
Which are bonds and hangouts that are formed between people of different backgrounds,
Yes.
different religions, different races. And I honestly think that, like, having friends of different religions, dating people of different religions, dating people of different skin tones, all of that is so good for fighting racism and fighting ignorance and misunderstanding of culture.
Totally.
And so when I say that with a little bit of annoyance, that certain religions are very protective of their children wanting to keep them within the religion, I understand the cultural importance of that, but I also appreciate so much young people who go beyond their expected partners or their expected friends. And I think that's very, very good for this country. And that's sort of my thought on that.
Bro, it's good. It's good for everybody. And listen, it's no coincidence that mixed babies are mixed children are typically very good looking. Not a coincidence, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I feel like we were intended to mix. And honestly, what you said, and I'm not trying to act like I've thought of this, but I've always thought anytime I've traveled anywhere, the reality of the people you interact with is just so much different than whatever conclusion you have about whatever greater thing you think you know about people.
Right.
You go down, like people up north talking about people down south. Southern people are lovely. People everywhere are lovely. You know what I mean? And I think that if you could take a person who thought something about a race of people and let them spend an hour and a half with a nice group of whatever people they had ideas about, it would completely change their mind about what they thought before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it could, and it could also
It might not.
backfire. It could go the other way.
Absolutely. But
At least you've tried.
at least you've tried, and you have a lot to learn, and it'll spark compassion, and you'll look at people as people, which is what they are and what we all are.
Right.
I know this is getting a little fluffy now or whatever, but
Right. Have you ever dated?
I have a
Go
quick
ahead.
story about the thing we were talking about before with just an example of what I meant about kind of like really religious Jewish people that I know mixing in completely normally in mainstream society. Like I had a tennis teammate who I knew was like pretty religious, whatever, but like, very normal. Like he would go out, he would drink, he would party. He was cool. He was fun. He was a good friend, still a good friend. And we would room together on the road when we would travel. And one morning I remember waking up and he was full on doing a fucking ritual, dude. He had like the black arm thing. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know that.
Like I think Orthodox Jewish people, and I'm sorry, I apologize if I'm wrong about this for anybody listening, but like I think it's like an Orthodox Jewish thing. He was wrapped his arms in these things, and then he had this hat on that had like a thing in the front, and he was like doing this whole thing, and I had absolutely no idea that he was that religious.
Was it a special holiday, or did he do this every day?
I don't know if he did it every day or if it was once a week or something, but I know that like since I've learned that that's like a normal thing when you are a certain level of practicing or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. It is cool
It was
to
whatever,
yeah, when I did a semester abroad in the south of France, as douchey as that sounds, but it wasn't some like, I think I've talked about this. It wasn't some party thing on the Riviera. It wasn't some bullshit program. It was actually a really kind of interesting and hard program that I was in. And it was the Middle Eastern Studies campus of Sciences Politiques, which is like the Political Science Institute of France. And they would get kids from all over the Middle East, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, to come and study at this school. And I was, I think, one of two Americans there. And so it was a really cool mixed bag. And my roommate was this kid we both loved playing soccer. We were playing a lot of soccer. We'd go kick ball around all the time when we were there. And he was a Muslim. And we I guess it was September or like right when we got there, it was Ramadan. And, we would go out and play soccer in the hot sun and like go swimming in the Mediterranean, which is super salty. And he was fasting.
Crazy, bro.
Meant that not only could he not eat, he couldn't drink water.
Yeah.
He couldn't drink water.
30 days?
30 days. Well, yeah, but it's only from sun up till sundown.
Right.
But I mean, September, it's not exactly particularly short days of the year.
Totally.
So, we would go out and we'd be sweating and all this stuff. And I felt so bad for this guy because of how dehydrated he was.
God.
Like, I get a headache if I have 2 cups of coffee. This dude was out kicking up dust and running sprints with me. And then, you go swimming in the Mediterranean, you get that salt water in your mouth. I don't know how he did it. And yet, totally normal guy. Like, we connected on so many things. And he was praying 5 times a day, and also fasting through all of this. And it was just like, I'll be honest with you, it made me feel kind of pathetic myself. Like I don't have that level of commitment for anything in my life. Not my job. I wouldn't. If my parents were like, "Hey, we need you to fast for an entire month to prove that you love us," I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. So I thought that was a very interesting and cool thing. And it did not make me think, it didn't make me think we were so different, but it made me appreciate his commitment to something.
Totally. And speaking of which, Ramadan just ended a few days ago. So
is that right?
Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim listeners. Yeah, I think it ended May 23rd.
What am I talking about then? Is Ramadan, does it change every year? Because when I was in France in the fall and he was fasting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's different on different I'm looking right now. It was this year's April 23rd to May 23rd, but maybe it is different. We got to look at.
I
We'll
don't
look
know.
into that.
Weird. Interesting.
We'll look into that.
I had one other thought. Oh, have you ever dated somebody who was not of your race or like, yeah, let's start there.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Like the first girl I ever went out with was the end of high school. This is actually a funny story. She was a senior in college at the University of New Haven. She was African American, 6'2",
Whoa.
scholarship volleyball player.
Oh yeah.
And I was
Keep
17
going.
and we were like dating, but I had never really done anything with a girl. So I think she was ready to like, get in there and I wasn't. So I like couldn't put the moves on her really. And then it kind of fizzled out, but I would lie to my parents, sorry, mom and dad, and drive to New Haven to go on dates with this girl and hang out with the volleyball team and shit.
Holy shit, Giulio.
I know. And I've dated a lot of Jewish girls. Yeah, all sorts of different.
Wait a second. This is just a casual, another classic Giulio breeze by. Little breeze by. You were dating a girl who was 5 years older than you, a senior in college, who's 6'2", volleyball star. How did you meet? Were you telling her the truth about how old you were?
She knew how old I was. I went to visit University of New Haven with a girl who I had previously been in love with, who it never panned out with, this Russian girl who was an exchange student. Well, she wasn't an exchange student, actually. Her mom married a guy here, and she moved here when she was 15, didn't speak a word of English, whatever. Ends up getting assimilating in the culture, whatever. And then she had a friend at University of New Haven, so she would be like, you want to come to these parties with me? And I was like, sure. So I went a couple times, and I met this girl at a University of New Haven party. And, driving my purple Volvo down to New Haven.
And you would take her out on dates. Which
we went to the movies. We actually,
you would pay
it's
for
funny.
in cash that you'd made from mowing lawns.
Exactly. We actually went to see the movie about the organ market, which is how I knew about that movie that I recommended.
Wait,
About,
that's not the one with Will Smith.
No, the black market. It's called Dirty Pretty Things, Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think Audrey Tautou, the girl who played Amelie, which I imagine is a movie you know about, being the Francophile that you are. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Right? What about you?
So, yeah. Yes. I have dated, well, I guess I've hooked up with a couple of black girls, and then I dated one that was like, for a month or so. I don't know. Is it bad that I know? I guess it's not that bad. It's not that I could see someone being like, you shouldn't know exactly how many people it is.
Right. But dude, no, definitely. I mean, like if you break it down for me too, between dates and random things that didn't go anywhere and girlfriends, like I've probably dated quote unquote everything. Every race and ethnicity.
Really?
In some capacity. Yep.
Come on. You haven't dated like monks.
Fine. But that's like very specific. But like in broader terms, like
I don't even know if monks are women. I've
gone out with Muslim girls. I've gone out with Asian girls, black girls, everybody. You know
That's
what I mean?
pretty cool. I don't think that I've ever dated a Muslim girl. Not that I wouldn't. I just don't know that I have. You know what I did when I was abroad? There was this Lebanese girl named Diala who was so pretty. Oh my God.
She was probably Christian though, if she was at the French school.
She was Christian. She was Christian. Yep. And she was very conservative. Like her family, these especially I think women and men grow up in some of these countries, and they do not grow up the way that we do. So I don't think she'd ever kissed a guy when I met her, and I like tried to kiss her, and she told me that she couldn't do that.
Really?
Even though we knew we liked each other. And then like one of her friends told me like later to try again because now she was ready. And I was like, I'm 20.
Wow.
I'm 20 years old or 21 years old at this point. And I'm like, come on, this isn't we're not in middle school. Like, I don't need you, the messenger, to tell me
Right.
this is ridiculous. It's
Well,
not worth
this
it.
is interesting that you say that, because I spent time in Beirut in Lebanon, and I had some of the wildest nights out I've ever had. The
Really?
nightlife there is like second maybe to none I've ever experienced. So I wonder.
But let me ask you this. You know, maybe there's partying and there's craziness and stuff, but are there people who are having casual sex and one night stands?
Yes, 100,000%.
Okay. All right. Well,
Just because I, like I said, had some wild nights
right.
in Beirut,
Right.
and
Oh, you dipped your wick, my friend.
we had, some fun was had.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
But no, like, it's interesting, and I've always been shocked too, just from like a cultural standpoint, when I go to a different city and like the vibe is completely different. Because like in New York, to me it feels like men and women are the same, in the sense that like everybody's down to go home and sleep together, and it's no big deal, and nobody judges anybody, and there's no like any sort of weird thing with that. But then in other cities, I've noticed it's completely not like that, and it's much
Right.
harder to, and it's a more traditional vibe. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if I'm making that up.
No, that's cool. I have to, this sparked a thought though, which was one of the one black girl I dated who was for like longer, a little bit
Right.
longer, more
Right.
substantial. We had met on Bumble. She was a big time UCB improviser, and she was good at it. Like, she was on like a house team, Herald
Right.
night, all that
Right.
stuff. So she wasn't just some bum, lighting money on fire in the classes.
Right.
And we hung out a couple times, like whatever, went on a few dates, hooked up, and then I didn't really. It kind of like fizzled out, and we reconnected on text a couple months later, and she we were having a nice conversation. Then she goes, "By the way, like, what happened, to us? Like, why did you lose interest?" And the real reason that I lost interest, and this is going to sound so pathetic, when she drank, she really liked to smoke cigarettes.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, I know you've smoked, like you've been a smoker in your life. I do not like smoking. Like I'm it's a huge turn off for me. I don't like kissing somebody who's been smoking. I don't know. I find it gross.
Right.
But I didn't have the heart to tell her that, because it seemed like such an insignificant reason.
Right.
So I instead
Oh, baby.
I told her that I was intimidated that she was funnier than me.
Oh my God, dude. That's an insane.
I felt like it was an empowering thing to say to her. Like, I felt like I wanted to give her what she wanted to hear.
Right.
Instead of just being like, I didn't like the fact that you smoked. And she responded and said something like, "Ugh, men." That was what she said.
That's funny.
And it was like this. I told another friend of mine about this, another comedian friend, and he was like, "Dude, why the fuck would you have said that?" Like, he was mad at me for saying that.
Yeah, it's pretty, that's one you could have maybe taken back if you could do it all over again.
I felt like I was kind of complimenting her.
I feel you. And I've done things like that before too, where I make something up because I think it's going to benefit everybody in the situation, and it ends up just making me look like a way I don't want to.
Yeah, in the end, it made me look like this small-minded, insecure, like sexist dude.
Right.
And that wasn't my intention at all.
Right. I hope she's listening to this, dude, because this will be nice for you to get to clear your name.
Yeah, but then maybe she'd be mad to find out that I had just ghosted her because I didn't like her ripping Camel Cools or whatever they are. I don't know.
I take cigarette breath over alcohol breath personally.
Yeah, beer breath. If you're making
breath
out,
is
if you're
bad.
sucking face with some chick who's been slurping down some heavy IPAs, that's not appetizing whatsoever.
Dude, I've
But-
done that before too, dude. I've been like, I've like made up reasons for like a fizzle situation, and then it just ends up making me look like a fucking loser. Like I was like, I'm just not in a place in my life right now where da da da. And the girl was like, "You're a pussy," and then she blocked me on everything.
Yeah, but dude, here's what you realize. Nobody wants to hear why you don't want to see them anymore.
Totally.
Nobody has ever been like, oh, well, that was a good reason, and I appreciate your honesty. Ultimately,
True.
you're getting a fuck you no matter what. Maybe down the road, they'll look back and be like, you know what? He was honest with me. Not bad.
Right. And I think that is of a thing that shouldn't be overlooked. I think that, when the dust settles, if you handled it reasonably, I think that they will hold you a person will hold you in higher regard later down the road. And I think
Right.
that is valuable.
Yeah.
But I agree. You're fucked no matter what. And I think a lot of the reason why guys like ghost, and I'm not defending it. I think it's a terrible way to handle things. I don't condone it. I'm not a ghoster. I'm not trying to say it, but I think it's just so hard to have that conversation. And like you said, no matter what you say, that conversation sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for some
it
people, I
does.
think it's easier for them to just not have it.
Of course. Yeah. People avoid conflict, and, I get that. We have a couple fun, DMs and things that we should read just to end on a nice lighter note. As always, we really appreciate these submissions and we get a kick out of them. So please keep sending them to us. We got one from a guy that listened to our last episode, and this was about the girlfriend's or boyfriend's parents. He says, I just listened to today's Oops, and I thought I had a story that you'd enjoy involving a girlfriend's parents. I dated a girl for 2 years and about 6 months. I dated a girl for 2 years, and about 6 months in, I realized I did not know her parents' names. At this point, I had met them so many times that I could not ask what they were. So for the whole 2 years we dated, I never knew their names. We broke up last year, and nearly the second we did, their names were cemented in my mind. Fucking Diane and Phil.
I don't get it though. Did he just remember? He remembered too late.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that either, or, how he couldn't have found them on LinkedIn or tagged in an Instagram, whatever. There seems so many ways to figure that out. And also just ask your girlfriend, like,
Yeah, but I think the point he was making was that it would have been fucked up for him to ask. She would have been mad at him.
I don't know. That sounds like that sounds like a relationship. If you're afraid to ask, hey, I'm so sorry, I've just forgotten your parents' names. What are they? And you're worried she's gonna like break up with you. That doesn't seem like a very sturdy relationship. I'm surprised they last.
I don't know, man. 6 months in of dating somebody, you don't know her parents' name. Like, I would rather avoid that conversation and try to figure it out some other way. Maybe he just got sidetracked and kept forgetting and like.
Do you feel uncomfortable when let's just say you don't know someone's names, but you should? Like, how do you handle that? Do you
It's a good
find some
question.
crazy, mysterious way to discover the names?
This is what I would do. Okay, so say I'm with you and there's another person and I'm going to introduce you guys and I don't know their name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go, so this is what I'll do. I'll kind of like gesture in their direction and be like, this is Francis. And then I get distracted for like 5 seconds. And then as they introduce themselves to you, they say their name. So say their name is Chris.
Yeah.
They'll be like, I'm Chris. And as they're saying Chris, I say, this is Chris.
Yeah. Okay, so you say it on top of them as if you knew.
Exactly. That's my trick.
I would be too smart to know that I would catch on to you. I would know that, but that's partly because I've done that method before.
I think you're also very like socially aware. And I feel like, do you have social anxiety ever?
I have social anxiety in the sense that I get anxiety about hanging out with people, period. The prospect of being with other people Not like, I don't worry, oh, am I going to get it right? Am I going to be liked? None of that shit.
But like, does the idea of being in a situation where you don't know someone's name make you nervous?
Only because people react poorly to it.
Right, of course.
But meaning, I think, look, here's what I do. And this is crazy. I was once in a Ralph Lauren store, and I was sitting down in one of those fake seating areas, you know, where they've got some crazy like titanium chest with and nice armchairs to let people relax while their significant other shops or something.
Yeah.
And you know, they had like a centerpiece that had a stack of magazines, and then on top of the magazine was a book, and I think it was something like the Ralph Lauren Guidebook to Being a Gentleman.
I like that.
And I started, it was like 99 tips on how to be a gentleman. And I was flipping through this stupid fucking book. And I remember reading a tip on how to handle this exact situation when you don't know a person's name. And according to Ralph Lauren or whoever wrote this book, what you're supposed to do from an etiquette standpoint is you're supposed to just say, I'm so sorry, but I've forgotten your name. Could you remind me? And just be totally honest and get out in front of it. And I'll tell you this, I've gone that route. Doesn't always work. Doesn't always work. The fake it till you find it route seems like the better option.
Here's the other thing, dude, and I think specifically why it might not work for you is because you're like a known person. People know about you. People know who you are. People remember you when they meet you because they knew about you before. So I think it's extra offensive when you don't remember them because of how much they remember you.
I think there maybe there's an element of that, but the other part of it is, and this is going to make me sound like a total asshole, if you want me to remember you, choose a nickname that is memorable. It's not my fault that your parents didn't think outside the box when they were naming you. Giulio, people remember you because Giulio is an unusual name.
Bro, people can't even spell or say it or any. I don't know. You might be right, but
Francis is an unusual name.
right.
Okay? But if you're telling me, hey, I'm Joe, I'm Dave. I mean, how many Joes and Daves do you meet in a given night? How many Lauras and Laurens do you meet in a given night? How many Carolines? Get the fuck out of my face, Lindsay. You know what I mean? Like, I and not only that, but just be memorable. Find some way to impress upon me your identity, and I guarantee you I'll remember you.
Listen, man, you know, that's a good way, I guess, to look at it.
Yeah.
To absolve yourself of guilt.
Right. Wow, we covered a lot. Was there something you wanted to you had
No, there's nothing that was needed to be shared today.
Let's save it for next
Got it in
time.
the coffers.
Yeah. Okay, why don't you bring us out, dude? That was great.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, listen. Oops, the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Send us your oops stories or whatever good shit you got to say to us that you think's funny. And if we like it, we'll read it. Oops, the podcast on Instagram, oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. And I'm Giulio Gallerati. And Francis, you got anything you want to plug?
No, that's it, man. That was a wonderful episode.
All right. So for myself and Francis Ellis, we bid you farewell for now. See you soon, and thank you.